Okay, well, I should probably say welcome because I didn't do that. I did the same thing last week. I just get talking but welcome. It's nice to have you moms on here. There's just a couple this morning. Some mornings are just either slow starting or it's just a busy, busy day. So we have a small group and that's great too. We love it. Small or large, doesn't matter. So this month is October. And so during the month of October for Mothers University, we focus on nature. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today and see if any of you have things you want to share in regards to that. I was listening to, I guess it's a podcast, but it's on the Mothers University Nature page. It's under the watch section. Hold on. And it's called Nature Study. And this is Marlene just talking about the importance of it and then going through the books in the nature series. And so she just goes through and talks about the different books and kind of how you can use them, gives you ideas about using them. And gives you little clips from it. She shares thoughts from it. And it's so lovely because these books have stories in them, a lot of stories in them. Others, they will have things where they're telling you about, talking to you about nature, but really mostly it's through stories. And I love that. That is such a great way for us to get into nature, not just our kids, but for us. And I think as we read through these books and we just make sure to take a few minutes to do that every day, that I think it'll surprise you what you get out of it. And it prepares your heart so that you're ready to be able to be more effective with your kids and the learning that happens there. It's also just comes more naturally to you. It doesn't feel like it's forced. And I think that's such a lovely thing too. It kind of helps you see, oh, I'm making this harder than it has to be. It's not that hard. It can just be a natural outflow of what's going on with our families, just in our regular lives. So I'd love to know what you think about that or what your experiences have been as you try to get nature study part of your family's rhythm and part of your own study. So I'd love to hear if anybody has any experiences or stories they want to share about this nature study. We are inspired by each other's stories. Hey, Melissa.
Hey, Lori. Hey, buddy.
But I forgot. I don't. I haven't finished my cereal.
Okay, go eat your cereal.
So cute.
So it's fall here.
Lucky.
And in my backyard, I live in an area with a decent amount of trees. It's an older neighborhood for where we live in the desert. And so I just want to flip my camera. So I don't know if you can see this, but like we have like yellow trees, green trees, a bright red tree.
Yeah.
Like just that's, 2 houses away kind of thing. But the other day, I've been sick this weekend, so I was sitting in bed, just doing some work I could do from bed. And this is my backyard. We've got a couple trees back here. And I heard my neighbor's child, this kid over here, just squealing at the top of his lungs from inside my house in my bedroom. And I was like, what is he doing? And I looked out my window and there was a breeze blowing, just kind of a constant gentle breeze. And the leaves from this tree were just falling. And he was so excited because they were blowing into his yard. And he was just standing at the fence, jumping up and down at the trees blowing into his yard.
So cute. I love that because it doesn't snow here and we don't get any kind of winter really. We love when that happens and we do get wind. And so we say that it's leafing outside, and my kids would run outside because it was leafing and they'd go and just be out there while the leaves were dropping. So I know that kind of excitement. That's awesome.
So yeah, I could just think so fun with these leaves just gently moseying into his yard with a slight
Right.
breeze.
That is really cute that I mean, it was a big enough deal that it caused him to exclaim about it. That's really fun.
Yeah, but I was looking at our trees and it took me years before I realized, so this yellow tree and this big green tree, are the same kind of tree. And I'm assuming they were planted at the same time, just given their size and spacing and whatnot. But this tree is like way more yellow and has lost half of its leaves already. And this tree's like, oh, it's fall. maybe I should recognize that. And they're, you know, not far apart. They get the same water, they get the same sun for the most part. But despite being the same type of tree planted at the same time in the same yard with the same environment and temperature fluctuations, this one's like, I'm done. I'm taking a rest.
Yeah. That's
And this one-
really interesting. That's you learning by observing.
And I just find it so interesting that I think in my head it's like, oh, it's that kind of tree. The leaves should all fall at the same time
Yeah.
because I'm a person and that would just make sense to me. But that's absolutely not at all how they behave. And it made me think just about our experiences in life. Like my kids obviously have the same growing up experiences, but they can experience it totally different, or they could handle different things at different times. I've never really noticed if this tree maybe starts growing earlier in the spring than this one, or different things like that. But yeah, just kind of had some fun thoughts about the trees in my yard this week.
Yeah, I like that. And I love that thought because when you were first showing it, I thought it was kind of fun to think about the trees having personalities. And one of them, like you said, being like, I'm done. All right, I'm done. Time to rest. And the other one just, no, I'm not ready. I'm not done yet. I'm not finished. I want to keep playing. I want to keep hanging out, you know. But it would be really interesting and fun to look and pay attention this spring to see which one, you know, buds first or which one leaves out first. And I don't know. It'd be really, I mean, that'd just be something to learn. I guess those are the kinds of things you can learn from nature journaling because you'd have somewhere to see that. But anyway, or even just observing. I love that you did that. And then I love the comparison to us and how we grow, and they're different people within the same environment. Anyway, that's really fun, Melissa. Thanks for sharing that.
Yep.
And Mercedes, did you guys bring a nature craft that we can see? Hang on, hold on. Let me unmute you. I don't know if I can. I think you have to do it. There we go.
She's just making little tulip for Holland, little yarn tulips.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Yeah. So I guess nature, but not because we saw them. So.
Yeah. Oh no, I love it. Those are so pretty. And you just use different colors of yarn to wrap around there?
Yeah, you sort.
Wow. You're doing such a beautiful job too. So you can go around and around and up and over.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes a neat pattern. Very nice. Thank you for sharing that. I noticed you were working on that, so I was curious. I wanted to see. How about mom? Has mom done some nature learning this month yet, or just noticing?
I mean, we went out last week. We took all of our, and then we actually went this morning, and we took all of our paints with us and our clipboards and like watercolor paper, and we drew what we wanted to draw. We painted it how we wanted to paint it. And yeah, I started nature journaling this late summer probably, and kind of have gotten into watercolor. I'm not like good at it or anything. There's so much to learn. But it's fun. It's fun to dabble in, and it's fun to like try and look at a leaf so closely or something. It's so pretty, so closely that you can try to duplicate the color or like the pattern or like the veins. Like I was looking at a leaf yesterday, off of our peach tree, this gorgeous color. And then you look at the veins and it's got like these diamond patterns along the edges. So like the veins come out normally in the center, but on the edges, there are these really interesting diamond patterns. And I was like, who would ever have noticed this if you weren't looking, you know, if you weren't studying, like just so fascinated by this beautifully colored leaf that you look at it more closely.
Right.
And so I
Lindsay-
tried to draw it. It wasn't so great, but I tried to draw it.
No, I think that's wonderful because it's true. You wouldn't have noticed that just, I mean, and if you think about all the times that you've interacted with your peach tree, you know,
Right.
pruning it or picking fruit off of it or, you know, being around it. And that's not a thing you ever noticed before because you weren't really having to look at it. So I'm going to let Lindsay talk for a minute about nature journaling.
Oh goodness. No, I've had similar experiences, Mercedes, where yeah, I'm like, let's just, you know, paint this rock, and it's just a rock. You've seen it a million times, like the same thing, like with the leaf. Then all of a sudden you're like, holy cow, there's a lot of details in here. And every time I think about that, I think of like butterflies and fish and like bugs and the tiny little details in them. And I'm just amazed at like our maker and that like he created such detail, like, and it just, I don't know, it always reminds me of like he's in the details of our lives, like the nature stuff, it always ends up drawing like this parallel to our lives, you know, like even Melissa with the trees, I started thinking, oh, how are we like those trees? Like by fall, are we, you know, are we tired? I don't know. Are we tired? I don't know. Just all the, you can kind of relate, but I love nature journaling. I could grab my book. I don't know where it went.
You should. Lindsay does watercoloring too. And I love that you just start. You just feel, you know, something inside you motivates you to start it. And you don't have to be good at it to enjoy it, which I love too.
Yeah.
And that's not something, you know, that's not how we usually respond to something. We usually hesitate if we're not good at it, or we stop doing it if we're not good at it. So
yeah, I struggle with that. I usually end up copying somebody else's watercoloring of something just so I can kind of get halfway there. It's hard to watercolor or draw something directly from that objects I'm working on, that because that's where you really notice all the details.
Yeah, I think that's very cool. I still am fascinated with this idea of learning things by observing, because I don't know how many times I've done that in my life. You know, I read about things to learn things, or I watch something to learn. And I'm fascinated by what you can learn just by stopping for a minute and just watching what's happening. I mean, you guys are talking, but I'm like super distracted because I'm up on the second floor, you know, and I can see out the window into the trees. And I love watching what's happening out there. I love watching the different birds that are coming in and seeing, you know, who's in the tree and what they're doing. And I was just out in the garden a little while ago, and I was interacting with a few of the different birds that were there, and the ravens are a little bit further away right now, so the songbirds are singing, and so that's nice. And then there was a blue jay in the tree, which they're kind of pests, but he was just picking pecans and taking the nut and banging it against the tree branch, you know, to get it to open up. And that was just fun to watch him. Anyway, it's just fun to slow down, which we've talked about, right? And then just look, notice. I love that. And what are the 3 phrases that John Muir Laws says, Lindsay?
Notice, I wonder, this reminds me of. That's always fun.
Yeah, Mercedes.
Those 100% work, because I started saying those things, even just looking at, like, you know, art out of Book of Delights or whatever. And I've noticed that she's started to say, I notice, or she doesn't say I wonder as much, but she does say I notice, or this reminds me of. She's started to copy those phrases. And so it's just really fun to see that they're amazing questions, right? They get other people thinking the same way, which is what we want.
Yeah. No, and I'll bet you anything after today in this discussion, she'll start saying, I wonder.
I wonder.
Because those are good for you. Those are good questions to ask when you're outside. Good job.
We also realized this week that we have a little squirrel that lives probably in the neighbor's trees, because we don't have any trees actually on our property, but they hang over ours. And so we see him running along the fence a lot now. And he now comes into our yard and runs along. We're putting in a swimming pool, but there's like a concrete, you know, line across. And so he comes up on that every once in a while. And so they all run to the window and everyone's looking and watching the squirrel. And then he hops up into the tree. It's just really fun to watch.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
very cool. So you have wildlife in your yard. That's super.
My goodness.
That's super. We've been learning about possums because we have possums that come in our yard and raccoons. But they're only out at nighttime, so we only see them in the nighttime, but that's kind of fun. And we have owls right now, so that's fun too, to listen to the owls making their sounds in the trees at night. I don't know. I just love it. I don't know. My life would be so different if I didn't notice nature, you know, and my kids grew up noticing it just because I love it. And so they'll notice, and I love that that's something they notice, and then they'll point out to me. So that's always fun. You kiddos that are listening, that's fun for your mommies. If you notice really cool things out in nature and you wonder about it, and then you talk to your mom about it, that's a good way to have a really good conversation with your mom about things that are important. I love it. Okay, and Lindsay, were you going to share something else? I am hoping you are.
I was just thinking of when I was little, my grandma used to share the clouds with me and the moon. Like those were her favorite things. So we would always notice the clouds and find the shapes in the clouds. And I know a lot of people do that, but it was something that was special to me. And then now that my grandma's passed on, my mom and I kind of honor her by every time there's a really big moon or something cool about the moon, we'll just text each other moon, just to go out and look at it and notice.
Yeah. And you can share that together from wherever you are. I love that. Yeah, I love it. So what are some of your favorite things that you just notice in nature? It could be different for, you know, different people, but what's something that maybe isn't, I mean, it can be a very obvious, you know, common answer, or it can be something that maybe you think is kind of weird, but it's something that you can't help but notice when you're out in nature. Or that's something that you go to this place maybe occasionally because you love it so much and you want to occasionally be able to see that thing. What do you love? What aspects of nature in nature speak to you? Yeah, Lindsay.
Well, Ruby and I went to the temple yesterday, and so, oh, she says, wait, she's coming to share.
I was hoping you were coming back, Missy. Okay, Ruby.
So we took time, right? And we noticed all the nature.
Remember the fall thing?
Oh, yep.
That?
We even learned by, you know, physical touch by falling into thorny bushes.
Yeah, I fell into a thorny bush.
And we didn't even know I had thorns until she fell in it. So
Oh, surprise, huh?
yeah, that was fun.
Wow.
But then we were able to look at it more closely, and it had really pretty white flowers and these like red fruits that look like tiny little pomegranates. It was a weird bush, and it had these cool bugs in it that were orange and brown, like marbly looking weird bugs. So it led us to really study this plant because we were kind of in it for a while.
Trying to extract Ruby
Oh,
I
from
had
it.
to like get up and pull her straight up out of the bush.
And there's like a little maze in it where it's like cut and then it went back into it.
Wow, that's kind of an adventure experience you had there, Ruby.
Yeah,
Mom, can you get your phone and have pictures?
go get it. You had it. Oh, and we were looking up some of the plants, and we realized how many of them are like exotic plants there at the LA Temple. Like that particular bush is native in like Africa, and
I
then
want to show them.
I don't know, there was a bunch of, you want to pull up the pictures?
Yeah,
And we followed a squirrel around for a while.
it's really pretty.
It
That's
didn't really run
fun.
away. It just kind of kept moving around us, like it was just playing with us, and it would look at us and then hide. Okay, so those are these weird little fruit that they're not fruit. They're like something ornamental that grows on this bush, but they're tiny. Like I said, it looks like a mini pomegranate.
Yeah, but it is fruit. I mean, it's the fruit of that plant. Hey,
Yeah.
there's Ruby.
There's Ruby, and then let's find some other fun. We don't need to show them all of it. These are the flowers that are on that plant.
Mom, I can show them.
Okay, okay. That was a pretty,
There's this little bark.
she likes the bark on this tree,
Oh, that's super interesting.
kind of peels off.
And then there's these pretty leaves.
And this was a plant, it was just leaves, but these leaves were like a vibrant red bush. It was really cool. I don't know what it was.
Then there's
We
me and
don't-
the waterfall.
Let's not show them every single picture we took.
Hey,
fine.
there's another
Okay.
tulip.
Oh, these were cool. And this one was huge, the big cactus things.
Oh, yeah.
So we took pictures with those, and later we found a ton of them.
That is so cool that you had such a good adventure and that you got to see so many things. And this is a place you go to regularly, and you look at how many new things you saw that you'd never seen before.
Big flower,
Oh, that's a pretty lily.
this leaf.
It's as big as it's bigger than your face, Ruby.
Yeah, we should put it up to her.
Wow. Of course.
Mom, show them the video of the squirrel.
And I don't know if I can. And the big like redwood tree.
Yes. Look at all those things.
So we had a great time. I don't know if I could show them the video of the squirrel. They're not gonna be able to see it very well. But so anyway, we had a good time.
That is awesome. Ruby, your mom can share the video with us in our other group so that we can get to see
On
it
the
better.
Marco Polo.
Yeah. And then we'll get to see it. How'd you get a red tongue, Ruby girl?
Popsicle.
This is, yeah, she was inspired by Mercedes and her little girl. So she's like, well, I want to make those. And I said, well, I don't know if we have any more popsicle sticks. She goes, but we have a popsicle. So she had to eat the popsicle. So now we have a popsicle stick. So now we can make a tulip.
Perfect. Perfect. I love it. Good job. Very resourceful, Ruby. Making sacrifices for the crafts. That's awesome. Oh, like look at the tulips. We have more now. A purple one and a yellow one, and now a red one. Oh my goodness, they're beautiful. Good job. Those are so nice. Okay, I'm going to read you a little bit from this book because it was just kind of interesting. This just shows you how observing something actually can teach you something. So it's kind of cool. I'll just read a little bit about it. This is the Sea Stories for Wonder Eyes. Look, that word wonder came up again. That's kind of cool. So if you have wonder eyes, I'm guessing that means that your eyes look around and wonder about the things that you see. I think that's very cool. It says, we are learning how in all God's wonderful world, the creatures he has made are fitted for the kinds of lives they are to live. So that's kind of interesting to look at a creature and think, oh, look, it was made to be able to live the way that it lives. So this is an example. This one talks about the body of a fish. So if you think about the fishies that you've seen, the body of a fish is shaped so that it may pass through the water with the utmost ease and speed. That means it moves very easily through the water and it can move very quickly through the water. So this was the interesting part. We shape the keels of our boats. So that's the bottom of the boats. We shape the keels of our boats on the same plan. So we looked at fish and said, wow, they move through the water really, really well. So let's make our boats like that so that our boats can move through the water really well. So I think that's pretty cool. It said boats that are our pride for swiftness cannot match a little silvery salmon as it shoots through the water. Even an arrow is not more swift than that salmon. Every part of a fish is so made as to help it to swim. Its body is flexible so that it bends. It's covered with a kind of slime. That probably sounds kind of yucky, but it helps it to move fast in the water. Most fishes have an air bladder extending along the back. A fish's fins are its wings to fly with through the watery world. Its tail is wing and rudder together. Its fins are folds of the skin which covers its body, spread out and made strong with spines. Some fishes have their fins so large and strong that they can use them as wings to fly short distances in the air. I'm still amazed by flying fish. I just think that's the coolest thing. When you see those videos of fishes flying, jumping out of the water and kind of flying or flying up into boats and stuff. Anyway, I think that's very cool. By rising on their wing-like fins, they are often able to escape their enemies in the water. I've seen that because I've seen seals in the water and then whole schools of fish, and the fish are jumping up and out of the water to get away from the seals or sea lions. Fishes must have air to breathe, but they can only breathe air that comes to them through the water, and we can't do that. Their gills, which are to be seen on each side of their heads, are delicately fringed and may be called their lungs. Their eyes are so made as to enable them to see under the water. And then this is kind of cool, and I've seen this before too. Fishes that live in a river in a dark cave have no eyes. They don't even have eyes on them anymore because they don't ever have any light come into the cave, so they didn't have to use their eyes. Anyway, it goes on and tells you more things about fish. And then there's a little poem at the end that talks about fish, a poem from Mr. Longfellow from the long poem Hiawatha. And this part talks about the fish. So they're just these little short a little story, crab stories. The crab that lost her claw. The crab that was a housebreaker. Sounds interesting. How crab babies grow. In Fiddler Crab Town, fiddler crab is a type of crab. A shark's cradle. I wonder what that is talking about. It talks about mermaid purses and shark's cradles. That might be interesting. The little seahorse. I love seahorses. When I was a girl, I thought seahorses were the coolest thing. To have a little fish, kind of an animal, look like a horse and swim in the water, especially because they swim so cool. So if you guys think about it today, look up a video of seahorses swimming. Because it's kind of weird. It doesn't look at all like a horse running. It looks very different, very interesting. But it's fun to learn about nature. It's fun for children and it's fun for moms just to have that little respite from normal stuff, and you kind of feel this, you can breathe. And you feel like it kind of gives you something back so that you can go back to what you're doing that's a little bit, that's work. So I think it's a gift. It's one that we don't always make time for, but I think we should. I think it would be a wise thing to make time for it. Any other thoughts on any of this, moms?
I was just really quick. So one of the things that made me nervous about moving to Georgia was I was completely unfamiliar with the plants and the animals and the bugs here. It's a whole new place, right? So I've tried to be more purposeful lately about looking up the things that we come across. And one of the things that I've been observing the last several weeks is we have a spiny-backed orb weaver that lives just outside the kitchen window. And I've never... Oh, hold on 1 second. I've never been a big spider person.
Uh-huh.
But she's changed my mind. Hold on 1 second. Watching this spider over the last couple weeks has been the best experience. She has made and remade her web several times because it keeps getting bumped or like a hard wind blows or whatnot. And then just watching her recraft this web is amazing. We had a really interesting conversation the other day, the kids and I, because it started raining and we looked out the window and she was taking her web down. And I was like, oh, no. Like, stay, don't run away. But then we were talking about, oh, I wonder why she's doing that. Do you think she's doing it because it's raining? Why would she do that because it's raining? Right. And we watched. So she took it down to like just the perimeter. And then she waited until the rain stopped. And then she remade the center of her web.
And it was just the most magical thing to be like, huh, she knew what she needed to do because there was a storm coming. However, she knew that was happening. And then as soon as the storm passed, she was like, okay, time to rebuild. And away she went, just as studious as can be. It was incredible. And so, yeah, it's just been so fun. I just absolutely love spiders now.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Yep.
That's really cool. So I have my youngest was afraid of spiders. That was just a kind of, they just freaked him out. He just really didn't like them until we found these videos on YouTube of Lucas the spider. And they're animated videos. You've seen it? Have you seen those? Oh, you have to look them up. So they're animated videos of Lucas the spider. And he's a little spider, and he has there's a child that does the voice for Lucas the spider. And I mean, you'd have to be hardcore afraid of spiders to still be afraid of them after getting to know Lucas. So now Michael, on his mission, I get pictures from him on a regular basis, and they're either beautiful nature shots, the food that he makes, because he's very proud of what a good cook he has become. I mean, he really is good. He's always been interested in it. Or he's fascinated by spiders. So I get pictures of spiders. So I just think it's really cool and fun. But anyway, so yeah, look up with your kids, Lucas the spider. If that's the only nature thing you do this week, well, check out Lucas and tell me what you think. Oh, he's just so cute. But thanks, Morgan. I love that. And that's just something you were watching out of your kitchen window. It's like when birds come and nest somewhere that you can watch them, and you can watch that whole thing, the whole life cycle develop. It's fascinating. Anything like that you can watch is very cool. Okay, nature's pretty incredible. So, yeah.
We have these hanging pots in front of our kitchen windows, and we get the doves that come and they have their babies. There's usually about 2 babies every time, and it's really fun to watch. And sometimes you're like, wait, there's one baby, you have to watch them because there won't be another one, and you'll find there's an egg in there and it didn't hatch, and the mom just sits there and sits there. It's so sad. You want to tell them about the pigeon? Oh. Let's talk about the pigeons. So Max, my 9-year-old, he has pigeons.
Yeah.
I shared this with Lori the other day. So he lets them out because they're racing pigeons. He's teaching them how to leave and come back into their coop all by themselves. Well, the other day he has his little. You want to tell them? Okay.
He had racing pigeons. He let them out, and they got almost attacked by a hawk. And
One did, yeah.
Yeah, one did. But the person that he got them from, he said he's never seen a pigeon
Outrun a hawk.
Yeah.
Or outfly.
Yeah, outfly a hawk. Wait, it's outrun a hawk. and this our
One of
pigeon-
ours did, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But there's one ran away and flew away, and the other maybe got killed by the hawk, or is just flying.
So he went out there to videotape himself, letting them out to show the process. And he got the whole thing. Got the whole thing on video.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to see that video, Max. So Max has a YouTube channel, and right now I can't think of the name of it. What's the name of it? You're muted. Hold on, Max. Oh, there we go. All right, it's in the chat, so you guys can see that in there for those of you who are here, but it's not broadcast out there. But so if you want to, you can go find that and check it out, because it is pretty cool. And I'm anxious to see that video, Max. Can you imagine that as you're filming your pigeons leaving and hawk shows up in the sky and chases them down? And he kept filming, so good job. That's impressive. That would not be an easy thing to do. Anyway, but I am curious to see what that looks like and how that all ended up. Wow. Okay, any other nature stories before we go? I'm hoping you're finding that this is really not a hard thing to incorporate into your life. And in the stories that Marlene was sharing, some of the things she was sharing was some ideas of even music that you can listen to that is nature related, like the Pastoral Symphony. You know, you can listen to that and kind of imagine. We used to close our eyes and listen to the music and then make pictures in our heads and then share after the song was over what we imagined, kind of like if you've watched Fantasia, and there's a whole movie around with the musical background. And so that's kind of fun. Yeah, Mercedes, you were going to share.
I know you were talking about books at the beginning and I missed the beginning, but has anyone, if anyone's reading the Mother's University book of nature study this month, have you guys noticed that he's kind of, not that one, the
Mother's University one. Yeah.
I just had it. I don't know where I put it. I don't know
either.
I have like 64,000 piles of books.
The nature.
Yes. Nature study. Has anyone noticed that he's really funny? Like he's really, the author is funny. Like he's got kind of a dry sense of humor. Like I was reading it and I find myself kind of chuckling to myself because he's really funny. Has anyone noticed this?
Well, I was still trying to finish my ones from last month, so I haven't got it out yet. That makes me look forward to it. So just to
it's really really dry, but if you're like, I have to read that book in like a quiet place. Like I can't read it where, like, if my husband's watching a movie or something, I can't read it like I can a novel. So if I'm somewhere quiet and I'm reading it, he's funny. Like he's kind of sarcastic. It's really funny.
That's awesome. That's a little bit of motivation for us,
Right.
isn't it? To get in there and read it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. That makes me more anxious to pull that out. I can't remember. I don't know where it is. I thought I pulled it up and brought it up here, but thank you. So there you go. There's there we go. Lindsay's got it. Motivation for getting that out. The nature study book, Mother's University for this month. So we will, I would love it if you pulled that book out and just read little bits from it, just a few things here and there. And then we could maybe have you share something you found that you loved, next Friday. York. I see that. Very cool. Very cool. I love to see your creations. I know, I'm encouraging. Sorry, Mom. I love it though. I just think it's so fun that they want to be around, where Mom is. And you do too, huh? Oh my goodness, I just love it. So I've been getting pictures from my daughter who she just finished the Scotland part of her trip and now she's back in England. And oh my goodness, it's been so much fun to just, live vicariously through her, see what she's experiencing and see all these beautiful places. I love that she loves the nature part, that's part of what she's sharing too. That's fun. Okay. Other thoughts? Other input?
Well, I didn't know that.
York wants to share a little
Yeah.
bit.
Please, York.
Today, I was like swinging and then out came like this funny bug thing. And I had no idea what it was, but it just flew like it was like
We have lots of
bugs.
stink bugs here.
Oh,
They've just come out. And so we'll find them everywhere and we just kind of flick them off
They-
the screen. And so-
yeah. So you saw one when you were swinging on the swing?
no, that was just a mosquito. And
Oh,
it
you
was
saw a mosquito eater.
Oh, yeah.
like flying up.
I did want to share that we started doing our watercolor nature journals. And at first I had these big books.
Keep forgetting.
but I had my husband cut them in half. So it used to be twice as big and this way. So
Yeah.
he cut them in half and made them small enough that we can just do it. This is Bo's. And we've been using them, and my son has been asking to use them. So when we went to a little aquarium pool thing, he said, "Mom, can we bring our notebooks in and sketch what we see?" So he's asking for these things now, which I think is just great. And then he got this little survey at school asking different things, and he put his favorite subject as art, which I didn't know. And I just love, because I never pressured him to do it. I just did it with whoever wanted to, and I did it myself. But now he loves it and does it all the time and draws things. And this was just a little tree that he watercolored.
So sweet.
7-year-old. So yeah, just so sweet. It's really tender. But it's been so fun, and they asked to do it. And so I wanted to share that was something we've done for nature recently, just being out there. Okay, you can show them your paintings.
So first I did a little steak, and then did a better one, which is a
Gotta hold it
fish
up
in
here.
the ocean.
That's your starfish.
Ooh, a starfish in the ocean. York, that's beautiful.
And then
Nice job, buddy.
since I didn't exactly put the other starfish, that was a mistake at the camera.
Yeah, it's okay.
Excited guys.
That's cool though. That's cool that you have that in there too.
Anyway. Thanks.
Oh, I love that you're willing to share those, York. I appreciate it. It's fun to see that. See, what I love is that I hear these stories regularly that moms go and do the thing when they finally decide to try that. Mom, go and do it. Invite the kids if they want to. Then it happens. And you know, I've also heard of moms doing it. Mom's doing it, the child's never doing it, right? And then somehow the child that was never, ever even doing it, but always around, even for them, it has impact. It has an impact, and it changes them. So you may think that you're being completely unsuccessful because you don't see anything, but you do not know what seeds you're planting in there and the effect that that's having on your child. Yeah, Cadence.
Well, I went to the nature journaling or the watercolor class.
Yeah.
And I really liked how she talked about having a small piece of paper to work on, because then there's not so much pressure to fill the whole thing.
Right.
And I didn't realize that. I unconsciously believed that it was too hard to fill the whole page. So that's why this size has been so great. And I want to show, look at this. I did a sea cucumber. I mean, I don't feel like I'm an artist, but somehow this is just able to be drawn. And I wrote a little couple things about going to this place with the kids, and it was just fun. Yeah, you can see my sea cucumber. That's all I want to share. That make it small enough, and it doesn't feel overwhelming.
Right. Right. And I
Mhm.
love that you're sharing it with the enthusiasm. I mean, you're kind of trying to couch it and be all, you know, adult about it and whatever, but you're excited about it. Like that comes through, that you're like, I actually did this, you know? So that's really cool too, that it causes those kinds of feelings in us. I love that. Well, for a while we still have it actually. We have a business card, like folder, you know, and it's a book, and you open it up and it has all these slots for business cards. You know, people used to use business cards back in the day. And so we kept that, and that was our album of mini masterpieces. And we had all these old business cards, a box of them, and every once in a while I'd put those out with different writing instruments, you know, pens, pencils, some markers, whatever. And told the kids they could create a mini masterpiece, you know, with any art medium, right? And so it was, I mean, we have quite a few pieces in there that the kids did over, you know, the course of a few years, and mom and dad did too. And we invited grandma and grandpa, you know, anybody that wanted to could add to our album of mini masterpieces. But because they were just so tiny, just a business card size, it wasn't overwhelming, because that is really the big, they talk about that when they're teaching you drawing, that all that white space and you feel that pressure to fill it. So even if you have big pads, just consider drawing a grid on the page and then just giving yourself, you know, small boxes to work in. But I love what Cadence, what you did, what your husband did, cutting those down for you. That's so smart. Good idea. Okay, so we're going to try to be a little brave about and do even more, getting out in nature and noticing the things around us and seeing what that brings into our lives, because it really does bring something positive. And I love hearing about your successes out there. It's not always easy, but if you just are willing to try it, then you get something good out of it. I've heard that over and over again. So anybody else have things to share? I know a couple moms have had to go run to find a child or answer a call of a child. I always think that's so funny. It's just life. That's how it happens, right? I was thinking that today, I was thinking that'd be funny if I left to go do something, you know. You guys can just take over.
That'd be funny. I was just thinking about how we have times in our lives where we're just feeling down all the time. And we really, I mean, we have so much control over that, whatever, not completely so, but we do have control over some of the things that we do with that. So I love that this is one of our tools that we have, that we to combat those feelings, or I don't know, if you're feeling negativity, then this can help. This helps so much, just being out, getting the fresh air, focusing on something so that those thoughts can't be in there.
Yeah.
You're pushing them out actively. It just helps so much.
Yeah. I think so much more than we realize until we put that in practice when we need it. Yeah. So that fresh air, vitamin D, just seeing the things in nature, those things are healing in a really big way. I know that Marley, she was showing me something she's doing with her family this week. They're having a nature contest, and everyone is every day finding something in nature that they think is really cool and taking a photo of it. And at the end of the week, everybody is sharing their photos with grandma and grandpa are going to pick the winner of the week, you know, and they're going to try to start doing that. And they have teenagers. So maybe they could handle the, you know, that a little bit easier. And even if it's like in our family, it probably would have had to be, I don't know how we would have handled it. We had some that took not winning a little bit hard. So you have to figure out what works for your family. But I love the idea of everybody collecting something and then coming and showing it. You know, we have a game that we play, I think I've shared with you before, that's called Drawing with Dad. And it's one that we just made up. You know, it's not complicated, but we actually, oh, cool. I didn't even see that at first. That is very, very cool. I like it, York. But Dad created this game one time, and he just had everybody had paper and pencils, and he had a little timer, and he said, okay, you're going to have 30 seconds to draw a picture of a bicycle, you know, and everybody draws their bicycle, timer goes off, time's up, everybody stop. All we do is everybody looks at everybody's drawing. We just, okay, so-and-so's first, show your drawing. Next person, show your drawing. Show your drawing. Dad shows his, mom shows hers. Okay, good, next one. Like there's no winner or anything. There's no point to it, but we still play it. The kids will come home and we'll still play Drawing with Dad. And everybody gets to take turns choosing what you draw and how many minutes or seconds you have to draw it in. I mean, there's just little things that you could create yourself, you know, something where you're trying to encourage your family to get out in nature. So I don't know, maybe that would work with your family. Oh, very cool. Look at that. I love when you guys share your creations. All right, so we have another week to see what we're going to do. Spend time doing things that feed our souls, that help us to be happier, that help us learn to better deal with life and choose ways to be happier I like it. And we can add experiences. Look, we have a flying dog going on. I just want you to know this. That is so cool. Is that your little puppy? York, is that one yours? I like it. He's cute. So little friends, thanks for being here. Thanks for showing up on a busy Friday morning. And I hope that you got something positive from it. Just reminders and encouragement and just seeing the faces of your friends. Knowing there are other moms out there, you know, fighting the fight, doing the good work, making good things happen in the world. Oh my goodness. I wish. I want to share things with you so badly about how little it takes to do good, to do an amazing, incredible work. What you're doing is the most important thing you could possibly do on this planet. I want to encourage you to read a chapter in this book. You probably all have a copy of it. This one, this Daughters in My Kingdom. If you don't, there are places you can find it online. But if you go to this chapter, chapter 9 is called Guardians of the Hearth. And it is really beautiful. And it's got good reminders about what you're doing, the importance of what you're doing, the significance of that. And it is in that work, it's really good to remember that you're not alone. There are other people out there. So anyway, thanks for being here. And as always, if anybody wants to stick around and chat, you're welcome to do that. And then head to the Marco Polo because Lindsay and I have something really cool to share with you that we got to do last night. So we'll share it over there. So if you're not there, but I think you all are, except for, I don't know who Mike is. So I'm not sure if that's a new person and you've got your husband's name on the thing. But if you're interested and you want to find out what that is, then let me know and we can invite you also to join us in the Marco Polo group. But thanks for being here.
Bye.